everybody. Welcome to Stream of Card Consciousness. I am Mark Ford, and as always, joined by my friend and my brother up in the Panhandle, Greg Smith. What's happening, Greg?
Oh, Mark, I'm raring to go. I got some stuff I want to talk about today, and I'm sure you do too. And it's been a couple of weeks, so I want to hear what you have to say about the end of your school year,
Oh,
about
yeah.
your anniversary. We're going to talk about Larry Walker. We're going to talk about overhyping cards. This is going to be a good one this morning. So let's kick right or dive right into it with your cards of the week. So
All
you've got
right.
some, and
Cards
I've
of the
got some
week.
too.
I got a few, and then that'll touch a few other bases. Not really sure if these are going to really run, but I thought they're pretty cool. Being that I'm into the Star Wars thing, I've been trying to find different things to put out there for the people. It's not about making money. I just, want to have different stuff for people to have. So I got these from your neck of the woods up in the Gulf Coast, collectibles or something like that. But I got unopened giant Empire Strikes Back 5x7 photo cards. So they're pretty cool. And
Wow.
yeah, so they're
I never
unopened.
even knew those were a thing, but did they sell? I
Yeah.
mean, obviously they came out in like 1980. That's cool.
Yeah, so I got
I,
like four of them. Yeah, I think they're pretty
nice,
interesting. I don't really, again, I'll probably put them up for auction or put them in a sale. Let the Star Wars people have fun with that. So yeah, I got
right?
I got four of them. Thought they were pretty cool. And my other cards of the week is Wally and Eva from Wally made it back from room six, so they do a tour of duty with me. They're my like emotional support vehicles there in the room, and yeah, the kids really they have they have a tough life in room six. So, but yeah, so they made it back, and really happy to get them back home out
Well,
of.
that's great. Those are very cool. And I took my daughter to see Wally when it came out in the theater, and we were just kind of both blown away. I know that's a favorite of yours too.
Oh yeah, definitely. If
Yeah,
you look at
Wally's a
it
cool movie.
post-apocalyptic instead of like a cartoon, it's really a great movie.
Right, it really is, and it stood the test of time too. We watched it a few years ago, and it was still really good. So, and then The Empire Strikes Back. I mean, the way that your sales go, I mean, you probably get 3 or 4 times what you paid for it.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Star Wars and the Kiss, and I kind
Oh
of was
yeah.
going to move off of that a little bit, but I'm having fun with it, and people seem to be engaged and still interested in it. So as long as people are having fun, and again, I'm not looking to make mad money on these things, so we're having a good
Right.
time, and I make new friends, and it's been a lot of fun.
That's very cool. Now Star Wars and Kiss, is there any other land you haven't conquered yet, or
As far as like
what else is there?
non-sports, yeah, I mean, Atom Bomb, but there's only so much Atom Bomb and a lot of modern stuff. But, I have the original Atom Bomb, which was a bucket list card for me. So I was really, probably that's about it.
Right, absolutely. So let's get into, and we don't have to talk about this a lot if you don't want to. You can talk about it as much as you want. So Room Six, years over, and you guys came back like the Knicks, down 29 in the fourth quarter. What
Yeah.
how did just give us a rundown on where you were, like say in January or
Mhm.
February, and where you ended up, and just
Yeah.
what a
Well, yeah. So I mean,
monumental.
course completion wise, I mean, we've talked about this a little bit, but we're like number one in the country, and kind of hit a little rough patch there. But so in December, I had 16 grads. So from August to December, 16 kids graduated. And I identified a problem because I had like 25 kids that were like within 1 to 3 credits of finishing. So I'm like, yeah, these kids can finish by the end of the year. But the problem was knowing their mindset, and it wasn't exactly the most motivated group. They were all going to wait till like the last week to finally get motivated, and somehow, some way, we're going to have to figure out how to graduate all these kids. So, bottom line, going into the last week's school, had 16 grads out of room six after 45 last year. So, we're finishing classes, everything's great, numbers are astronomical, but it's like throwing for 400 yards and not winning the game. So, in the
Wait a second.
last,
Okay, let
yeah,
me stop you there. You had going into the last week at school in May, you had 16.
yeah, 16.
Wow.
And you know how that aggravated me because
Yeah.
you see my board, I track everything and it hadn't moved.
Oh
And
yeah, in real time. In real
it's
time
frustrating.
too.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm putting it up all the time. Like everything's going on, class completions, everything, so on and so forth.
Oh yeah.
So in the last week, we uh we completed 60 classes, which was breaking the previous record of room six of 35. And believe it or not, my partner next door actually had a week where he completed 43 this week. So he was the record holder, was key word. So 60 classes, and got them all 25. We finished them all up in 5 days, which was incredible. I was working late every night, and we got it done and ended up having 41 total grads out of room six, and closed almost 900 classes. And I think that set the bar for some records that will never be broken.
Yeah, that's like the 511 wins, or the 5,700 strikeouts. The way the game with baseball is now, those will never be touched. And I think now you're moving up into an administrative role, right?
Yeah, tenfold.
Yeah. So room six is going to be a legacy that probably will go down as the GOAT, really, especially nationally, maybe even, but
Yeah,
especially at that
we
school. So
well, the school we were, you don't want to be number one because it draws too much suspicion, not suspicion, but people want to see what you're doing and they're into your
right.
processes and all that stuff. So we don't want to be number one, but we were number nine, and based on that monsters week, we ended up number three, which was the best we've
Okay.
ever been since I've been there. And we could have been number one, but you gotta you gotta slow your roll at some point.
Right.
And then,
Right.
yeah, I'm done
Yes.
there. Well, room four next year, and that'll be my fifth year, and we'll see what happens after that. So I'm going to room four, right by the front door, and I can help patrol the main hallway, Main Street as we like to call it. And I'll have a window, so that'll be nice. So
Nice. Well, and that way, when I come visit you, you can see me coming and hide
yeah,
too. So
exactly.
you
You
have a
can come in the
window.
back door. Yeah, definitely. So that's the back entry, but yeah, I can. We can we can
Oh, you're at the back.
we
Oh,
can run you through the metal detectors and take your backpack and your cell phone and all that stuff.
right. Yeah, because I bring so much with me.
Yeah,
But-
you flip flop shorts, t-shirt. That's
well, congratulations, Mark, and I sincerely mean that. You really set the bar at that school, and you know, I'm listening to you most of the year, and you're just like, man, I don't know how this is going. We're doing okay. We're doing all right, and you know, for you to end up the way that you ended up, for you to be able to motivate them on the last week, 2 weeks of school is it's very inspiring, and I admire you for that, man. So
again.
we're heaping it on you today, but good job. And
Graduation was a Tuesday, and that was really nice. Graduation was nice on Tuesday, and just to circle back around that, and we can be done with that. People want to hear about cards, not about my teaching experience. But
right,
when I played sports, coached, and as an athletic director, I felt like this is the first time I couldn't get my team motivated to do what I want them to do to win. Own business, everything I've done in my life, all the different things. And it came together at the end, and it usually does. But I'm at my best when all it's hopeless and it's chaos. Somehow I can find my way through the storm. So I think
well,
that's my
and
talent.
I, yeah, yeah, and I have one last question, then we can move on. Like you said, what? Okay, so you're facing that situation. You feel like you're not getting the performance out of the people or the students that you need. What do you? What was your catalyst? What can you? Do you have one moment that you remember that you're like, okay, they're finally starting to get this, and we're going to be okay? Or what? What was your motivator? I guess because I
Well,
struggle with that too.
you, they like to show up at 9:30 and be late and all that. So I knew we had it when most of them came in at 7 o'clock on Monday,
Right.
and they're ready to go. And they stayed all day. So
Fair
they were
enough.
there from 7 to 5:30, and then I would stay past that and get things ready for the next day and come up with a game
Right.
plan.
Outstanding. Well, good job, sir.
Thank
My
you.
cards of the week. I don't, I'm going through this desk, and I picked up some stuff at a card show last weekend, and I'm going to one this weekend, and I'm going to take video that we're going to have for the show. But I got some pretty cool stuff. I got a 1987 glossy update set, with Maddox, I think's in it, and it's funny who they put on the outsides of these at the time. Kevin Seitzer Kevin McReynolds with the Mets, um, Andre Dawson with the Cubs, B.J. Surhoff, Reggie Jackson, so and Lance Parrish with the Phillies. So that's who's on the outside of this Fleer glossy set. So I got this for $5, which it's got
Really?
to be. Yeah, it's a pretty good price.
Yeah,
And
the
then
glossies are they have a little more value than the regular ones, so they're
yeah, it's certainly not like
probably
a Tiffany kind of deal, but
yeah.
it's limited print run, and so then I got this for $10. This
Mhm.
1989 Bowman set. So $10 for a sealed 1989 Bowman. Um, I saw that and grabbed it because that's got the Griffey
Mhm.
and it's sealed. So I mean, it's got to be worth at least $12, right?
So, well, that's Griffey. I like that Griffey rookie card. That's one of my favorites. If it's
Yeah,
Yeah, it's tough to find centered, but if it's centered, that's a
right,
really beautiful card. I like it. And confusing with the Harold Reynolds too. The cards look very similar. So like if
right.
I'm in packs, I'll see Harold Reynolds. I'm, Harold Reynolds, not Griffey. I get all excited, and I'm like, oh, it's Harold Reynolds.
Well, and the thing about this too, this card it was oversized.
Hmm.
So you find them in your tonnage or whatever. You find them now, and they're usually kind of dinged up because they've been stored in a box with the rest of the regular size cards. That's been my experience with these. Is it's hard
Right.
to keep them in better condition. So, $10 for a sealed set. I,
Oh,
I
absolutely. You can't beat
yeah,
that. I'm not a
right.
big fan of 89 Bowman, but the Bo Jackson and Kirby Puckett cards from that series are really beautiful. I really love them,
Yeah,
especially graded. You get them in a slab, they really pop. Yeah, there's some really, really good cards in there.
absolutely. Then I found this. I'm not real sure where this came from. I think it was in like a box set or something, but I have this 19, I think it's 91 Nolan Ryan bronze card paperweight. So I'm going to use this actually as a paperweight. So I'm not, it says Nolan Ryan earns 300th career win. So came out in 91 or 92. And it's just like a bronze card. It's kind of cool. It says Nolan Ryan Stadium Club charter member. So I have this cool, and it's actually heavy. It feels like it's like a
Mhm.
pound of copper. I don't even know what that is. Laminated metal. And then just a couple more things. I've kind of gotten over the years I've bought some heritage when they come out. So I've got some cool looking heritage that I got. I got this Bobby Witt, I guess, with the rookie cup. He's a good player, and
Yeah, it
if
is.
you look at his numbers, he's flying under the radar a little bit with Judge and Otani, but this is a guy I think that really has a chance to be among the greats of the game, really. And then his dad obviously was a pretty decent pitcher. And then this is a cool. It's a SP Otani from 2024 Heritage, and I just found a stack of these I bought that I forgot about and went looking through it the other day, and that's apparently a short print. So that's pretty cool. And then I think you sent me this. I don't remember these when I was growing up, but or when I was younger, but these
Oh
glow
yeah, yeah, I remember
stars
that. Yeah, I got
with
that in some
Robin Mount.
tonnage.
Yeah, yeah. You got now. Are these like stickers, or do you put them on a
Hmm.
shirt, or what do
I
they
think
do?
stick them on your binder, your whatever, your bedroom. I think they glow in the dark or something like that. But
Right,
I'd never
right.
seen
That's
one. I'm
great.
sure there's a bazillion of them out there. So I got that in some tonnage, and I thought you might get a bang out of it.
Oh yeah, it's very cool. And if anybody ever needs a Steve Carlton 1981 Fleer, I've got a whole bunch. So I'm your guy. Message me, hit me up, and I'll get you a lefty, the golden arm, with impeccable centering.
Oh wow,
So
beautifully cut.
if you ever need one of those, let me know. So I haven't really been looking a whole lot for my Yastrzemskis lately. Anytime I have looked, I don't see a whole lot new that I don't have already for the SGCs. And I haven't really been looking for that. So finding cards of the week, it's just kind of what I randomly stumble upon. I got a whole stack of these 1971 coins for some
Hmm.
reason. Like you can't tell me that Billy Grabarkowitz was ever good enough to have his own coin, but here he is. So, you know,
Definitely.
Billy Grabarkowitz. Yeah. So
I never
it
heard of
was
that
pretty
guy.
cool. Yeah. Yeah. He had quite the name, but my cards of the week are a little bit subdued, and I'm just pulling stuff. I got an Elgin Baylor Topps card with a bunch of writing on the back. So there's that. You can see all the markings of a kid who loved his cards. So there you go. Those are my cards of the week. Do you have any comments on those, or you just they're pretty random, man?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's you seem to do all right when you pick up those piles of cards, 50, 70, 100 at a time. So,
Right. Yeah. It's I don't really know why or where these even come from. I guess people just stack them together and just sell them as lots. But yeah, I've had some decent success. So we were talking before the show, Mark, and we wanted to get into a little bit of a couple of things. You had mentioned something about wanting to talk about what Andrew was talking about with over description of cards. So, do you have anything you want to say in regards to that, or what?
oh yeah,
What's
definitely.
your? All right, let's hear what you have to say, and I'll kind of go off that.
We've touched on it before a little bit, but it's like I told Andrew, card hyperbole. We really don't need that. I know when I sell, I let the card speak for itself, and I always say I don't want to say it's minty or pack fresh or near mint or perfect or you just setting yourself up for trouble because you're one man's near mint is another man's good, one man's good is another man's poor. I think generally where I see over description is more so in the middle ground, where cards might have bad corners, soft corners, rounded edges, maybe even a crease in it. And I saw this in the sale of somebody that we know the other day, and they're saying these are good. To me, that's not a good card. I mean, maybe the parameters of grading, or when you used to look back in Beckett, they would tell you what to find a poor, a fair, near mint, excellent, all that. To me, a card like that is you just sell it. And I
Yeah,
say it has defects, corner, crease, so on and so forth. And from my experience, because I'm not hunting $1,000 cards, pristine things. So I find a lot of cards that are advertised as good really end up being kind of poor. And it hurts you in the long run as a seller, and because people aren't going to have faith in you. And I could say that, I don't get any complaints on my sales. It's maybe because I don't oversell it. Here's the pictures. Here's what I think. And people know once in a while I'll say these are some of the finest ones I've ever seen. And for me, that's like saying, it's the Holy Trinity because I just
right.
don't do it. So you just
Yeah,
get yourself in trouble, and then it's disappointing as a buyer when I buy a lot of bulk stuff near mint. I can tell you what, when I'm buying 150 Kiss cards at a time and they're telling me they're near mint, there's going to be 50 of them in there that are all wonky, and so there's
right,
no need to do that.
right. Yeah, it happens a lot, Mark, and I'm with you. I sell a lot on on the pages, and I do auctions and things like that, and I wonder sometimes if I do myself a disservice because I do describe the flaws. I read some of these posts, and it's just there was one yesterday in a different group. Um, Guy said these are among the finest examples of these cards in the country. So those are his words. They're the finest examples in the country. You won't find anyone better in the country, like the United States of America. And he's talking near mint, and I zoom in on the pictures, and I'm not going to name them, but it, I zoom in on the pictures. There's scuffs on the card. There's and it's a card where you can really tell the damage pretty easily. Scuffs, so I do wonder sometimes if people really are that shady, or are they blind, or is it a combination of both? And then when you get called out on it, you double down. He's like, well, I stand by this. It's got some scuffs. And I just don't understand what people are thinking sometimes when they're describing their cards. I guess maybe they're hoping for somebody just to not look, but then what happens when they get the card is my question. I'd much rather err on the side of caution and under describe and over deliver. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
there's a lot of people in these groups that really have gotten kind of out of control with their descriptions and use of definitions. And there's a guy on the 1985 page today that's got a couple of SGC sixes described as near mint. I mean, that's not near mint. an SGC6 is EX to near mint. That's liberal. So
Yeah.
for you to describe it like that just makes you look kind of slimy and kind of like you don't really care about your customers, and it is all about the money. So I don't know. I don't. How do you combat it though? How do you? Uh, you, you can't really call people out on their posts. So what do you do? I guess would be my
Right.
question. You
I mean,
know?
I find, yeah, like for me, there's only one area where I'll give some grace on that, and that I buy a lot of cards from non-card sellers, and that's where you get the deals. They just but so they don't really know what they're looking at, so sometimes they'll over describe it a little bit, and
Yeah.
I give them a break because if you go on eBay and somebody's selling clothes and all kinds of housewares, and then there's a lot of baseball cards. They're not a card seller. They just got them somewhere and they're trying to move them off. So that I kind of give them a pass on. But then when I tell them that, hey, these cards, they're really not near mint, and they say, well, I didn't know you were going to grade them. That kind of rubs
Right.
you raw. Like, okay, maybe you did know a thing or two. So
Right.
but generally they're very, apologetic. And I say, I don't care. I'm happy. I'm not looking for anything in return, just for future reference. Somebody might
Right.
not be as laid back as me, because me, I don't, whatever. I don't really care. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
make a big fuss about it, but somebody else might, go crazy and give you a hard time.
Sure. Well, and between you and me, we're both so far up on this stuff that if I get a bad batch every once in a while, I'm not going to lose my mind.
No.
But it's when people, what bothers me even more about it, Mark, is when people are called out on it because this guy with the best cards in the country um, was called out on it. Somebody said something, and he's like, "Well, I stand by what I say," and he was also trying to he put Hall of Famer, like HOFer, in his description,
Mm,
even though the person's not in the Hall of Fame, but he's in that team's Hall of Fame. So he thought that qualified as a HOFer, and
sure.
he tried to insist that anybody that's in the actual Hall of Fame is in the NHOF. So yeah, yeah, I'll show you where this is, Mark, after the show, and you'll get a kick out of it, man. This guy's an interesting character, but it's when they double down, and you don't want to come off too smarmy with people, but at the same time, man, if your card's got scuffs on it, it's not near mint, first of all, and second of all, I guarantee I can find a bunch more in the United States that look better than that. So, you know, I just people just it never fails to amaze me how what lengths people will go to try to put one over on people in life and in this hobby. So I just wish people would stop. So
Yeah, and
and
it hurts you in the long run. I mean,
yeah,
we know of a seller that was, doing that, and the cards weren't what they should be, and we went
yeah,
scorched earth, and it hurt them, and
oh
now
yeah,
that seller is, not doing that anymore, and is coming back up and doing a great job. So, uh,
right, right. And but he's yeah, even that seller though, man, his pricing model is crazy. So
oh my God, hey, good on the bulk and good on the graded. The individual card, not so
right,
much, but that's not
nature of the beast.
that's what they do.
Well, and Mark, I need you to give me some guidance here, and we need to rack our brains to figure out how are we going to get the upper deck Larry Walker to be worth 50 cents again? What
I don't
what's
know.
what's got to happen, man?
Yeah, that's crazy that Larry Walker card. For those that don't know, Greg had a sale going, and he had, I don't know, a whole bunch of Larry Walkers, and 50 cents each, and nothing, just crickets on the Larry Walker. And I've had it myself. I sell the 90 tops for a quarter and all that. So I know there's a million of them out there, but the guy's in the Hall of Fame and had great
Right.
numbers. So
And and
25
it's an
cents,
upper deck.
right.
It's the good one,
And he's not like
you know?
Roberto Alomar. Roberto Alomar, by all accounts, is a scumbag. And I can
Right.
understand 1988 Roberto Alomar as being 25 cents, because, the guy's not a good dude by all accounts. But from everything I know, Larry Walker is like, a saint.
Right. Right. It's a good shot. It's the 1990 upper deck. Granted, they're not nearly as scarce as we thought they were when they came out, but it's a good action shot. He's leading off first base. I mean, he's in an Expos uniform, which as we all know, is the best uniform of all time.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And and I can't understand why it doesn't even move the needle at 50 cents anymore. I'd be surprised to see if it's sold for a quarter. That card used to sell for $1. And then
Yeah.
like the Glavin, brown teeth Glavin.
There's another quarter card.
Right. The Alomar, you're lucky to get a quarter on that 88
Yeah.
Donruss. You're
Mm,
lucky if you get a quarter on that one.
definitely.
So it's just funny to look at some of these Hall of Fame rookie cards and see how poorly they perform. Um, and will anything ever change that? I guess mass burnings of cardboard might help, but I don't know. You made that comment yesterday, to me about that, and you're like, "What observations?" Upper Deck Larry Walker is still not worth 50 cents, and I'm like, "Damn, I didn't know
That's
what the
crazy.
hell to think." So,
That's crazy. I like Larry Walker. And to take that a step further, it might be just Larry Walker backlash. I have a Donruss Elite Larry Walker, and I got it for like $15. Like those Donruss Elites from back in the day, you can't
that's
find
what
too many
everybody
for
was chasing.
$15. Hmm?
Yeah, that's what everybody was chasing is those
Yeah,
elite
chasing the
cards.
Donruss Elite. I have one. I bought it for $15. So that's crazy. So
Yeah,
maybe it's just people don't like Larry Walker. I don't know. It's interesting
yeah,
because that carries over even to now. I was looking at Andrew Jones cards. I have some of his rookie cards and that I've gotten tonnage, and the tops Andrew Jones rookie is like 99 cents, and
right.
going in off and Carlos Beltran the same thing. Now his tops is the wrong dude, but still, you
Well,
know,
yeah, that helps add to the allure of the Beltran, as it's not
yeah.
actually Beltran, so that
But I think if you
helps.
go to the Bowman, that's cheap too. So it's really kind of crazy how the Hall of Fame, maybe with this more modern era player, doesn't give them the boost that you would get from the 50s and 60s,
Right.
70s.
Yeah, it sure doesn't. And there's a number of factors, the junk wax, the blah blah blah, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it doesn't really seem to, especially like from like the start of the junk era, even going into like 2000, into the early 2000s. It seems like it doesn't really give them too much. Vlad Guerrero is another example. His rookies aren't worth that much,
No.
you know. So
CC
it is
Sabathia,
weird.
same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know, maybe someday, but I'm sitting on a stack of Larry Walkers too. If anybody needs one, I'll let it rip for a
Yeah,
dime.
put in the comments, hit us up.
Yeah.
Greg will hook you up with some Larry Walkers and some Steve Carltons and
Oh
whatever
yeah.
else.
Well, let's see what. Hold on. I've got a bunch of Keith Primo rookie cards. If anybody wants one of those, I got a stack of those.
His brother
So
played for
and,
Buffalo.
yeah, did he?
Wayne, yeah. Or uh
Keith Primo?
or Keith played for Buffalo. Wayne, I don't know, I don't remember. Wayne Primo played for Buffalo. Keith Primo played for the Wings.
Yeah,
So
Detroit. So I got a
yeah,
bunch of these.
Wayne wasn't very good at hockey.
Got a bunch of George Bretts and Wade Boggs. If anybody
All
wants one of
right.
those too,
There you
so
go.
let me
I
know.
like those Purina cards. Those are cool.
Yeah, yeah, they are cool. I remember
Now
when I
those
was a
come in the
kid.
dog food.
I think so. I think they came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ralston Purina. They had. Well, it's weird how they were. You had one that came in the pet food, and then you had one that came in cereal. Like
Mhm.
so, you had a cereal series, and then you had the Purina. They were both the same picture, but they were both from Purina. So I never got a single one of them out of a product. They were always around when I was a kid, but um, they are very cool, and I've got like 30 Wade Boggs second year Purina cars. If anybody ever wants one of those, let me know. I'll send out a care package if somebody comments. So, anyway, what else you got, Mark? You got
Oh,
anything
well,
else?
we had another giveaway on our page after
Oh,
giving
yes,
away the 700 count box of Junk Wax era Hall of Famers to Steve
yes,
Petronello. I had the Kiss cards, and this is an example of people how they would call this like that's a good card. No, it's not a
yeah.
good card. There's no creases, but so anyways, I have a pile of 50. Um, Kiss cards that I'm giving away. We're giving away, and
Outstanding.
Mike Leininger, he's going to win the Kiss cards. So I'll get in touch with him and get these on down the road to him. So we thank him for being part of the family and participating. So Mike Leininger, you get the Kiss cards.
And you said Steve Petronella won the junk wax
Steve
cards.
Petronello won that big ass 700 count box. of
Heck yeah.
junk wax. I'm sure he is blown away because that is there's like 50 George Bratts. They're all by player. 30 Andre
Nice.
Dawson, 30 and Larry Walker, blah 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 blah,
Yeah.
up to 700. It was a mix of hockey and football, basketball, baseball. I just, wanted to get it out of here, and it's not really my jam. I'm not going to be selling quarter cards and 25-cent Larry Walkers. So I'd rather do this stuff, This is my jam right there. So I'm gonna kiss. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't sell these because they're all right, if somebody wants them. So there you go. So now he's got some kiss cards.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Well, congratulations to Steve and to Mike. And that's a great thing that you do. I should really start doing that, man. I've got so much stuff. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean,
one of these days.
examples, right? So this was in a lot of 150 kiss cards. And about 50 of them were sensational. And I auctioned them off, and I did very well. And then 50 of them were legitimately good, and I auctioned them off. So then I got 50 that are, I'm not going to sell these because someone's going to get pissed off. I don't care, what you paid
Right.
for because they're just not quite there. I could get 25 cents a piece, but who cares? Let's give it to our friends and have a good time. And, that's what's all
Absolutely. Outstanding. Well, Mark, it's good doing it. I'll get some footage from the show this weekend. I'm going to a
about.
show down in Destin. Um,
Definitely.
yeah, first time they're having a show in Destin, so we'll see how that goes, and I'll get some footage up, and we'll do another show next week.
Yeah, and a big shout out to Harley Ford and Kirk Lorkowski. They've helped keep us going here in the last few
Yes.
weeks with their shows. It's been a really great time. I really enjoyed my time with Kirk. He's like my brother. We've been friends for, over 40 years. And every time I go back to Buffalo, we get together and I'll stay at his house. And obviously, anytime you can rip cards with your daughter and have a good time with it, that's fun. Again, that's what it's all about, people. I had a good time with Harley. So thank you to Kirk and thank you to Harley. And thank you to you, Greg, because you've been a big support system for me this year. This was not an easy year for Mr. Ford, but I appreciate you, and you've always been there and support me and pump me up and keep me going. So thank you to you.
Not a problem, man. You're welcome, and have a great rest of the summer. We'll talk. We'll talk next week, but
Yep.
enjoy yourself and try to bring some good juju next time you go to the Trop. So,
No, geez, the Trop. Oh my God. I mean, you get on the Red Sox yesterday. I went to Tropicana Field. They, redid it after the hurricane and to see the Red Sox. And I was so excited to see the Red Sox. And I texted Greg before the game. I said, I don't think this is going to go really good, because the Red Sox really suck. Their
yeah,
rosters, I don't know how you go from being the Red Sox to this roster they're putting out there is like garbage. And after strikeout number 14, in like the seventh inning, I said, "That's enough. I'm out of here." It was 5-0.
right,
They got
yeah.
stopped. They weren't even competitive, dude. I mean, and they're they made they look like a minor league team. It was unreal.
Well, yeah, it was not good, and you missed the best part of the game. They almost came back and won, but yeah,
No,
getting out of there early is all. I used to go to St. Pete all the time to watch the games, and um, that being kind of my hometown, I'd go there see people that I knew and stuff. And the Rays were always not very good, but now that they're good, they. I wish people would start going to
yeah,
that
I like the
stadium more.
Rays. Like, when they're not playing the
Yeah,
Red Sox, I'll go to Rays games and cheer for the Rays. So they've made the playoffs 9 times in 15 years. I don't know how they do it because they have no money, they have no fan support. So they're
right,
good for 2 or 3 years. They sell everybody off. They stink for a year, then they're good for 2 or 3 years, and they sell everybody off. And so their minor league system, whoever's in charge of their scouting and their minor league system in Tampa does an amazing job because
yeah,
there's no fan support and they play in that dome, which I like the dome. I think it's pretty cool. And
yeah,
they constantly are rebuilding, but there they are in playoffs 9 times in 15 years, and a bad year for them is 500. So when they don't make
right,
the
right.
playoffs, they're 500. They're not terrible. They're very competitive. So
Well, and I'm with you too. I think that dome actually is kind of. I don't know why, but I kind of like it too. I always have. I thought it's just kind of an intimate, cozy place to watch a game.
yeah, I'll
And
put a few pictures in here when I do the edit. And
yeah,
if you have a chance to go to Tampa, people go to Tampa for a game, and you'll really enjoy it. And the food's amazing, and the people are nice, and the people that
yeah,
work there are nice, and it's just a good time. It's really low
yeah.
key, I go cheer for the Red Sox and the Red Sox are there. Nobody ever gives me a hard time, and it's really cool.
Yeah, it is very cool. I concur, sir. Well, I don't have anything else I want to talk about
All
today,
right.
so go on. I've got to
Yeah.
get ready to go do a few things today.
All
So
right.
everybody have a good afternoon.
Yep. All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.